In this video, I am going to give you a detailed top-down analysis for gold in 2025. So at any given point in 2025, when you see this video, you can go back to the charts, compare it to the time I recorded this video, and this is the 6th of December 2024. So I am doing this video ahead of time. So for any time you come across this video, go to your charts and compare this video to what you have on the charts. You can scale down to the 6th of December 2024 and start comparing from there. Now I'm going to give you varieties of the moves you need to see or you will see. So it's going to be, we either do this, and if we don't do this, we're going to do that, and these are what you need to see for you to know we're doing this, or these are what you need to see for you to know we're doing that. So it's going to be a detailed top-down analysis, and you can of course take advantage of the information I provide here to make sure you make better decisions in your own trading way or style. So with that out of the way, let us jump onto the chart and I will show you every breakdown on every steps, including every detail of any and everything you need to know. So let's hop on. Come on. So after gold wasted so much time here, we finally got this. We got this 1, 2, 3, and if you of course have been following my daily analysis that I upload every day on this channel, you would see me mention that gold will do this, even though it took so much time to complete that. And we're still of course in the correction, but we've just completed the second phase of the correction, which is the B wave, and we're heading for the C wave now, which I don't know how long it's gonna take again before it finally finishes its buff. We've been here for a very long time. So here on gold, we had this move and it seems to have completed this one right here. So we are going to get this, which is this of course, and after that I don't know how far this will go after it breaks this high. I don't know how far it will go more. So we are obviously looking at two things right here. Now one is that this move goes up, breaks this top, forms another correction, goes one more, and hopefully comes back for this, and this becomes a buy setup. And if we see this happen here with this going back up, of course we're going to get this back, and once we get this back, no, we are obviously going back, continuing this trend of course. But that's one piece of the puzzle, and it's either we see that or we see that this came up here, broke this top, giving us a flat here, comes down, breaks this low, hopefully makes another correction, I don't know, possibly comes down again, goes back up for this move, and we continue a downtrend, coming back down. That is the second option from where it is right now. The third option is that it is still forming a buy setup, but the correction will take another shape where it comes, break this side, comes down here, goes back up for this, comes down here, and see goes back up. So this becomes a flat as a correction before we continue this trend coming up here of course. Now those are the three options from where gold is right now. Now the question is, which one will it do from here? And the answer is, I don't know which one it will do. It only has to prove to me which one it is doing. So how I am going to trade this is that I am going to wait for a break of this stop. Let me expand. A break of this stop, a correction, and I'll buy it to break this stop. That is if I see it come to break this stop. But again, if it makes a flag here, why not? I'm going to buy it. That is it for the immediate trade we have. Now let's hop down to what you need to learn. Let's start from here. So now I have shown you what gold will potentially do, and this is the 1 hour time frame, and this will also be pretty much what it will do on the 15 minutes time frame or lower. But now let's hop on to the 4 hour time frame. Now from the 4 hour time frame, you can see that gold has been trending up, no doubt. You can see all the higher highs and higher lows, all the higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. Now will this also form a higher low where it corrects here and goes back up. Again, that is what we don't know. Now, based on what I have shown you here that will happen, remember I showed you 3 things that could happen right from where it is now. So 3 possibilities. 2 are for the continuation of the uptrend, and 1 is continuation of a downtrend, which may be most likely what we are getting right now. But then we don't know yet until this whole thing comes to completion. So for us to have a downtrend after this thing completes itself, for us to have a downtrend here, this move will come to break this low and hopefully makes a correction after it breaks out of this, and then we'll know, yeah, we are continuing. But for anything that makes it breaks this low, make an impulse, make a flag from the 4 hours, of course, you know we're continuing this. But here is a thing you need to know, which is very important. You see, if it comes here, does this, and it's going to continue this trend, and it comes break this low, makes a correction. This correction obviously will start from an impulse into the opposite side, and if it is going to make a flag once it breaks this low, it will do this, hopefully does again, goes up, comes down, makes a correction, comes down, does this, goes up. Not as big as these though, because any continuation flag has to be smaller in size compared to what we have currently now forming. So not really as big as I drew it, maybe something like this. Yeah, something as small as this. But note that it has to start with an impulse to the opposite side and a correction. And sometimes this might be mistaken to be going up, when of course it goes up and stops short. And that is where you need to watch your trades closely and manage it efficiently. So once it does this and the correction gets to this low, of course, you know we are getting a continuation confirmation there. And likewise, what is forming right now, anything that makes it gets to this top, this is already a flat in the middle. We can come down, we can even make another correction come. If that happens, we'll obviously get this back. There's no 2 ways about that. We'll get that back, and then we'll start looking at getting this to either continue the downtrend or to be a completion of this and go back up. Those are the options you need to look out for. So let's go back to what we were talking about, the 4 hours time frame. So you can see we have been trending up, and when you look at gold, it's in its all-time high. And then when you look at RSI, which I also use sometimes to check out on the wave patterns that are forming, in the RSI you can see we have had this move, we have had this B wave completed, we are getting this. And what do you think will happen next after this? It is coming down, of course. So the coming down now is a question. Will it be coming down totally for the downtrend, or will it be just a bigger correction to continue the uptrend? We don't know as of yet. But if it's going to be a bigger correction to downtrend, you will see this come down here, and then for this correction that will happen once it breaks this low, this correction that will happen here will obviously give you a spike like this on RSI. It's going to be a smaller correction, but it's going to give you a spike. And if it gives you this spike, know that we are coming down some more. Obviously, if it's a correction, it's going to give you a big spike. Those smaller moves here will make this go very far, and then you know we are going to continue going. So all you need to do is just to wait for the clear pattern, you know, to form here, and you sell. That is if you use wave analysis. But if you use any other thing, you can wait for your trade confirmation pattern, support, resistance, supply, demand, anything you actually use in trading that works for you, you can just look for the confirmation and sell. So that is for the 4 hours. And let's go to the daily time frame, where we have this. And of course, from the daily time frame, you can see that we had this impulse, which is obviously something coming from here. So all this you see here became an impulse on RSI, and this impulse here became a correction on RSI, and this thing coming down is also an impulse. So we have this impulse here, correction, and it is coming down. And from the immediate happening there, you can see that we have this, which you can see clearly from the 4 hours. We have this forming here, which could come down here. go back up, and if it comes down here, goes back up, of course, if you see something like this here, note that we are coming down some more, which is we most likely are coming down. And if you've been following me actually for quite some time now, you will notice that I mentioned that gold might just have commenced or started its bear run, where we are expecting this move right here. Again, from the daily time frame, if we're coming for this move, if gold comes to about this low, about this trend line, it will likely be about this low. So the correction you're going to see after it breaks or touches this trend line will give you a spike here too. It's a correction, but it will give you a spike in the daily time frame, and that is how you determine that this is making a potential correction to continue the movement, and then you wait for whatever your confirmation is to jump into the trade. And after you must have confirmed that it has given you a perfect trade setup, that is only when you're going to jump into the trade. Remember, trading is risky and you need to do your due diligence as well as take calculated moves before you jump in. All right, so that is therefore good for the daily time frame, and let's hop on to the monthly time frame or the weekly instead, where I also show you a clearer picture of what we are talking about. Now, if you can notice, we on the RSI on the weekly already broke the 75 mark again, and we are coming down. And if you've watched this, you can see we've all been on this uptrend coming, and none of these moves actually had ever come to touch this 30 or 25 RSI mark. So let's see if we are going to see this come. And of course, if we see this come, if it's coming for this move, it most likely will come down to this low. All right, it's a completion of a correction, but it most likely will come down to this low before we start seeing the continuation of this bull run. So we are expecting this move to come any moment from now. This could be it coming down, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the middle, and of course it is ripe and more than ripe for us to get this move coming down. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is actually the move that is coming down. And remember, on the weekly, once we complete this, we are going to head back for this impulse. So in the next 2, 3, 4 years, gold might just be heading to 5k, 6k, 7k, or even $10,000. And of course, sorry to break this to you, the US currency will lose value, and I can show you that on the charts, but not right here in this video. Okay, that will be another video why I tell you how it will go down. And this is where people will basically blame Trump for the US currency losing value, but it's not a Trump thing, and it wouldn't be his fault, even though sometimes, or many a times, we tend to attribute the movement of the market to something that happened there. I don't know what he will do or say that time that will make the market crash, but we are seeing these coming most likely in 2025 or 2026. It will happen. Of course, it will start to lose its value rapidly and in a very fast pace, and I hope you all are going to be taking advantage of that anyway. So losing a value will take a couple of years before it finally gets to where it is right now. So anyways, that's, again, by the way, that's not why we're here. So that will be a video for another day, and if it is on request, if I get more requests about that, I'll do a top-down analysis on the DSY, telling you why and how it is going to fall and lose value. All right, so this is it for the weekly time frame on gold, and we are going to hop onto the monthly time frame, which will pretty much be similar to what we have on the weekly, just that it will be tinier. This is the monthly time frame of gold, and as you can see, it's already touched the RSI 75 mark and it's coming down. And if you noticed, these higher highs in the past actually overbought on this side, and we kept on making new higher highs, but then the overbuying kept on reducing, which is divergence. We got divergence here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we are coming down here, something like this, go up and come down, which of course gold, after doing this, of course, and go to the 10k, 5k or thereabout, could correct typically downwards, and who knows, that may be when we get this, but that wouldn't happen now. This is in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, even 50 years from now, so it wouldn't happen any moment from now, so don't panic. And even if it happens, we can make money buying or selling any instrument in the market, right? So it's not really much of our concern, right? So that is it. And now let me recap again, starting from the monthly time frame down to the weekly time frame, down to the daily time frame, down to the 4 hours, down to the 1 hour, down to the 15 minutes, and down to the 5 minutes. I'm going to recap again so you have better understanding of everything I have said. Okay, so let's go back to the chart. So on the monthly time frame, we have these, you can see on the RSI, we have this has tested the RSI 75 mark several times, 4 times now, and for 3 of the times it broke the 75 mark and overbought, and that is an indication of divergence from what you can see on the chart right here. It's an indication of divergence. So we have divergence from this point, and this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if we are coming really for this move right here. That is it. This is pretty much what we will have on the weekly, but might just be bigger, and we might have a correction in between, which we can obviously see very visibly on the weekly time frame. So let's go to the weekly time frame. This is where I told you that from RSI you can see we already touched the 75 mark, and we on the weekly are making a correction here where it already broke this low here, and it's making a correction, and of course this could be a potential down move. Now let's go to the chart and show you what it will do on the weekly time frame. If we come to about this trend line, there will be a correction on this trend line, below this trend line, or maybe break this trend line, go back up, form a correction, but anywhere around this trend line it will make a correction. And that correction on the weekly time frame you will see to happen somewhere after it breaks this 50% RSI mark, somewhere below it or somewhere on top of it. It will form the correction and will continue. You will see it pan out there, and most likely it will be after it breaks this low here, it will form that correction for us to continue going down and getting the rest of this move coming down. So that is it for the weekly time frame. Let's go to the daily, where you can see things pretty much clearer. So on the daily you can see we are in this correction, which we are hoping to complete itself very soon, and from here also you can see the divergence coming from these points to from these impulses. You can see the divergence coming from these points down. So this is an indication that we might just be heading down after all. So on the daily time frame you can see this is forming a correction, and already on RSI it is taking both the part of the upper side and the part of the lower side. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down here, does this again, and continue this move, which is comes down here, go back up, and continue this move to this line. And when it gets to about this line, it will then get to this low or maybe even break, and we'll see a correction here. So this correction here will cause a spike on the RSI. So little correction here will cause a spike here, and when you see that, of course, note that we are going to continue this movement here after this correction, and continuing that movement will give you the second part or the continuation of this move right here, this one. So when we see that happen here, after the correction, the continuation will be to continue this move right here. Of course, I showed you on the bigger time frame. And now let's hop down to the 4 hours and see what this thing will do, or what it will look like on the 4 hours. So let us also look at the RSI. So you can see this correction is forming on top of this 50% mark, taking a bit of the lower and a bit of the higher divisions to form this correction, which means that we are heading down some more, most likely. And then if we are heading down some more, of course we are going to see a completion of this, an impulse down, which will give you this, then an impulse up, which will complete this, and then we'll come down. So see this, So now after we break this low, if we are going to continue to get this downtrend, we of course should get a smaller correction, not as big as this, just a smaller flag to tell us that yeah, we are going to continue, and that smaller flag will give you a spike here. To give you a spike on the RSI, that you know smaller moves with a big spike here. What is happening? Of course, we are coming down some more, and that is it for the 4 hours on gold. So let's hop down to the 1 hour, where I show you things a bit clearly or internally as they are happening right at the spot where we are. So this is 1 hour. Of course, I told you earlier in this video that I'm expecting this thing to come up. As you can see, in your own eyes and in your presence, it is already coming up, and I am not surprised about that. Okay, it's already coming up, so you can see this. Most likely that is what we are going to get, and you can see this coming, and after that we are going to get this back, which is this of course, and then from there we'll know if we are going to continue going up or if we're going to continue coming down. That is it for the 1 hour time frame. And then if this happens that after everything we had here, we just made this to continue going up, of course there will be adjustments on the daily, the 4 hour, the weekly and the monthly time frame analysis, because this will no longer be the case of we coming down for that down move to complete the running flat that we have. It's a wave right at the back there, so we might just break this stop once more, maybe hopefully go up some more before we then start getting this impulse down to complete, because we are going to get the C wave of that flat. We've gotten the A wave, we've gotten the B wave, which we don't know if it has completed for now or not until we get this finished and see if we're going down or going up. But then we are surely going to get the C wave of that. But when will it happen? That is what I don't know. Will it happen from the moves we are seeing now? Hopefully it will, hopefully it doesn't. We don't really know until we trade the market and see what it actually gives at the end of the day. So if you're asking or wondering if we're going to keep on trading these up and down moves, and then have in mind that we could be going up or going down, or if we're not going to be making mistakes since we have these things to potentially go either way, of course we will be trading the market, because these are pretty much good ranges to have good profits. Okay, so we're going to be trading, but we're going to be having this in mind, and of course we know what will happen in the market for us to know that this is most likely what will happen next, or this is not what will happen next most likely. So like I showed you, if it's going to continue after breaking this flat, it will make a correction after breaking these lows. So wait for that, and that will determine if we're going to continue or not. But sometimes they will still make this correction, come down, break it, and still go back up, and that is it. That is why we don't control the market, but we try as much as possible to be accurate every single time, even though we are not accurate 100% of the time, because nobody actually is, as far as trading the forex market is concerned, and as far as trading any financial instrument is concerned, nobody is actually 100% certain of what will happen next in the market, and that is it. It's just a natural phenomenon on the market, and you can't change that. So now we are on the 1 hour. Let's get down to the 15 minutes. I am waiting for this to form a correction. Like I told you, I'm waiting for it to break this top here and form a correction. So if it forms a correction, at least a 1-to-1 trade is not a bad idea. We're going for this move, remember, and this might also be as corrective as that move, which is this one. I don't know if it's going to be sharp or as corrective as that before we finally start getting the down moves. So let's just keep our eyes and wait. I just hope it just goes as sharp as it is going without forming these up and downs. If not, we're going to be here for a longer time. Anyways, that is it for the 15 minutes. And lastly, for the 5 minutes, let's go there. You can see we already missed this trade here where we had an impulse and a retracement. So I won't be surprised if we have a correction there, go up. I won't also be surprised if after going up we'll retrace back before continuing to break this stop. So that is what I am looking on for the trade setups on gold. And note this one more thing. You see, this impulse gave us this spike and it's almost at the top of this. So this correction that will come next is going to give us a spike low. It's going to give us a deep movement in RSI, even though it's most likely going to be a correction, unless Either way, it forms an impulse correction, comes to break this low again, which is also possible before it gets to go back to that top. So keep your eyes on this and don't jump into the trade unless you have pure confirmation. And if you don't really know what to do at this point in time with the trade, just allow gold to either go break this top or come down to break this low again, and then you can know that you are on the right side. So it's either it comes down to break this low in, so we know we are buying it and this became flat here, or it goes to break the top, we know that we are selling it as this bigger flat is already completed. So whichever one it is, we will figure out as the market moves and as price prints it on the chart for us to see. So that is it for the top down analysis on gold. I hope you enjoyed it. So if you're coming across my channel for the first time, I do this daily analysis every day on various instruments where I show you the different options of moves or varieties of moves that any instrument could potentially make, and then what you need to look out for and next thing you need to do or look for when it makes a certain move. Okay, if that sounds like what you want to see every day, then join me in this channel. Hit on the subscribe button and smash that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these uploads. Okay, with that being said, I wish you well trading gold in 2025 and I hope we do this again. Bye.